So welcome everybody in the Zoom room, and those of you watching either the live stream or the recording. We do live stream the edited recording into the Facebook group, and we do that for several reasons. We do it so you can plan to do it, we do it so you can find it, and we do it so the visibility of the Facebook group remains quite good. You will find that even though the group is relatively small, you probably see it more than other groups that might be bigger, and that is probably why. On the subject of recordings, the new website is up and running, and I'll stick another link in the Facebook group. And I added so many recordings yesterday. So in that there are links to lists of recordings, playlists on YouTube and Vimeo, but I've actually added a load of recordings as well so that you can get them all in one place should you choose. As ever, listen to your body and take the options that are right for you. And if something isn't right, you can visualize it. You never have to do as instructed. If something doesn't sound good or feel good, please don't do it. So I'm going to move over there. Our theme on Thursday when we had the deep rest practice was deep compassion. And although compassion was our theme last month for Roll Out Your Mat, we're sticking with deep compassion because we're very good. I'm very good at talking about it and not always very good at applying it. Okay, I'll move over there. Starting, finding a comfortable position to sit. And you might wish to sit on a cushion. You do not have to fold your legs like this. I do this because I find it comfortable. So you can pull a cushion or a blanket just under the sit bones. Sit on a cushion or a folded blanket and it just tilts your sit bones a little bit. And that means that you don't round. Does it matter if you round? Well, no, unless we're wanting an intention to have a straight spine. So it doesn't matter what it looks like, but we're looking for length up through the spine. And we'll have a centering to start with as a starting meditation to arrive in our bodies. So close your eyes if you wish, or soften the gaze. No need to focus too hard on anything. And notice the space that you're in. Notice any sounds in the distance. And closer. Notice anything that is in your visual field, anything you can see. You don't need to get attached to any stories, but notice. Notice what you can smell or taste. And then bringing that awareness further in. Notice how you're sitting or standing, your feet on the ground or your body resting on furniture, supported. Perhaps notice the clothing against your skin. And then bring that awareness further inwards. How are you today? How am I as a body today? Perhaps you can feel tension or discomfort. Perhaps you feel good. Briefly scanning through each part of the body. And then take your awareness to your breath. Notice the inhale, that pause at the top as it turns into the exhale, and the pause again at the bottom as it comes back round, the cycle beginning again. A for awareness. Let's move on to balance. Have a little rock back and forth. Side to side, even up and down, sort of stretching up through the spine, sinking back down, and find that sweet spot of least effort. It's actually less effort sitting tall, your body supporting your body. Perhaps you can bring some balance to the breath, breathing in and out equally. And if that feels uncomfortable, let the exhale be a little bit longer. A for awareness, B for balance, C is for the core. We are looking for softness without collapse. Softness through the face, through the eyes, the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, the chest, the belly. So as you inhale, lengthen up through the spine. As you exhale, let that softness flow through the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw, the shoulders, the chest, the belly. Perhaps add an audible exhale. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale. And then second C for connection, bringing to mind a person or a pet, someone that makes you feel warm. It might be someone from the past or the present or the future, your inner self, your higher self, or if you're in the Zoom room, you can even take a little look on the screen at the people there, the friendly faces. And then have a wiggle. So coming back to deep compassion and where you feel it. So let's start with a hug. We use hugs frivolously in our practices, and I make no apology for that. Taking one hand round to the shoulder and one round the ribs and having a squeeze. If you prefer, you can take a hand to heart and hand to belly, or take just a little squeeze of the hands, but take the embodiment of a hug. Dropping the gaze, dropping the eyes, and reaching back into that sensation of self-care, self-love, self-compassion, deep compassion, not just saying it, but doing it. And then remembering a pose that some of us have done before is care pose, and taking the arms out as though you're about to hug somebody else, but the arms are at shoulder height. You can have them lower if you prefer. And there's a space here between the fingers. And what is in this space inside the arms is all the things that you are looking after, you are responsible for, you are caring for. And today that might be a smaller space, prioritizing you and those close to you. There can be a tendency to widen that gap and take that compassion. It's good to take that compassion out to the world, but we need to start with self. Start looking after yourself. Start looking after myself first. And from that foundation, we can send that out. Okay. Invitation to come and lie down. If you are on a mat today, if you are in a chair, rest back in the chair. And when we first come to lie on a mat, it can be a little bit uncomfortable. So you might need to lift up the hips a bit. You might even want to bring the knees into the chest and have a little rock, a little massage. And then stretch out the legs. And notice how that feels in the body. I'm always aware of a little bit of tension in my lower spine when we first lie like this, which goes with the practice. So notice how it feels for you, and if you need to shift this position, if you need to keep your knees bent and tilt the pelvis so that that lower back goes flattens to the floor, then do so. Again, it doesn't matter what it looks like. Sinking a little into the mat, softening. With each exhale, perhaps softening a little more. And then we're going to take a full body stretch. So perhaps stretch out the feet and flex the feet. And take the arms overhead and stretch them out as far as they will go in your space. Have a good stretch, 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 stretch. And soften. And again, stretch, flex the feet, stretch the arms. And soften. We'll come into a side stretch, like a banana stretch. So taking the feet over to the left, take the shoulders over to the left, and you might even want to take hold of the right hand, feeling that stretch down the right side of the body. If you want to deepen it, you can take the right foot across the left ankle. Brilliant. Gently let that go, come back to centre. And take it to the other side. Feet over, shoulders over, perhaps taking hold of the wrist, perhaps crossing the left foot at the right ankle. And remember, we're never looking for the end range of movement. It's not a competition, even with ourselves. Gently come back to centre. Let the arms go. And place your feet flat. Let the pelvis lift and come back down to the mat again. And then bring your knees into your chest. If you are in a chair, take your hands to your knees and fold forward a little. And then have a little rock. Side to side. We've got nobody in the Zoom room on chairs today. I don't think everybody's on a mat. Just checking, and that's okay. I'm just more likely to give more options when I can see people. Okay, we're going to have a twist here. So in this position, keeping your knees into your chest, if you're lying on the mat, let the knees drop over to one side so your whole body rolls over. You're pointing to one side. And then whichever arm is upwards, it's going to draw a circle. So lift it a little bit above the height of the knees. And then draw a circle with your fingers reaching down towards the toes as though your fingertips are moving through water. Then as it comes out towards the back, perhaps your shoulder can drop to the mat and pause with your arm outstretched. You might want to adjust your shoulders a little. But sink and pause there. If you are in a chair, you can do the same. Go to the side and then take the arm out. Pause and rest. Notice. And then let the arm come up off the floor, a little bit off the floor, and let it continue its journey, your fingertips through water, up over the head. So you can do the same in the chair, reaching up to the sky and then back round. Back where we began. And then we'll take it back the other way. So let the fingertips move through water up above your head. Your shoulder might come back down to the mat. Pause with your arms outstretched. And notice if there's any tension anywhere you can soften. Let the arm rise a little and let it continue its journey down towards the toes, back round, back to where we began. Beautiful. Then push to centre, knees to chest. Have a little rock side to side. And we'll do that on the other side. If you have to squidge over on your mat, that's okay. So dropping the knees over to the other side. Hands out in front. Then lift the upper hand and trail the fingertips down towards the toes as though through water. Imagine being on a boat, if that's a nice thought to you, and just trailing your fingertips over the side in the water. Pause when the arm's outstretched. Have a little wiggle and shift of the shoulders. And then lift the arm and let the hand continue its journey above the head, all the way round, back to meet the other hand. Pause. Notice. And then lift the hand and let it do the return journey up over your head, past any obstacles. Pause when you're outstretched. And notice where that feels juicy. Is it juicy in the hips? Is it juicy across the shoulders? And then continue that journey down towards the toes, all the way back round to where we began. Gently push back to centre. Perhaps have a wiggle, perhaps adjust, and then bring your knees back into your chest. Move a little side to side. Okay. I'm going to have a reclined pigeon here because we might have a couple of poses that are a bit stronger around the hips, should you choose. I know there's at least one person in the Zoom room that loves a good dragon pose, so the option will be there. So take the feet flat, flexing the right foot and taking the right ankle to the left thigh or just above the knee, and encouraging that right knee away. And that may be just right for you today, leaving it there. Or lift the left foot off the mat, bringing both legs closer to you, and that might be enough. Leave it there, or take your hands around that left thigh. And again, we're not looking for the end range of movement, so notice, tune into how it feels. I think people often cause injury or endure injury when they've stopped noticing how something feels. Have a little bit of movement there, whether it's side to side or back and forth, just gentle rocking. And then let that go. Take both feet flat. Let the knees move side to side like windshield wipers. And we'll take it to the other side. Right foot flat, flex the left foot. Ankle to just above the knee or the thigh. And either stay there or lift it. Stay there or take a hold around the thigh. And notice as well how it feels different on the other side. Add a little bit of movement. Maybe some little circles. And then gently let that go. Feet flat. Let the knees move side to side. And pause for a moment. Tuning back into your body. How am I right now? I'm going to come up to seated, so you've got choices. You can rush up to seated, you can gently push up to seated, or you can have a little bit of a rock and roll. Hands behind the knees, have a little rock and roll, bit of massage of the spine. I like an excuse for a rock and roll. And come to seated. You might pull a cushion or blanket under your hips again, so it tilts the pelvis. And pause. We're going to have some seated cat, cow. So again, find the leg position that's right for you. They can stretch out if you want, but if you're comfortable, you can cross them. I just like mine like this. Hands can come to the knees. As you inhale, tilt the pelvis, push the belly forward, lift through the chest, lift the gaze up a little. And as you exhale, tilt the pelvis back, round through the spine, chin to chest. So inhale, tilt the pelvis, belly forward, lift the chest, lift the gaze. As you exhale, tilt and round. And move with your breath. And perhaps you can visualize the vertebra of the spine moving like they're being oiled, setting you up for the day ahead. And then gently come to seated, come to stillness. Pause again and notice. We'll take a side stretch. So I'll mirror now. Right hand down to the mat. Inhale, lift up the left arm and see if you can lift a little out of the waist, out and upwards. Exhale, over. We're not tilting at the hips. It's further up the spine. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, down. Try the other side. Inhale, up. Exhale, over. Inhale up, exhale back, and then see if you can flow a little. The breath will do as your body requires. It's one of those things that we don't always have to focus on it. It happens naturally. And if you can remember which side you started on, which was probably going right, after the next one to the left, come to stillness and pause. I can see people warming up in the Zoom room. Layers are starting to come off. It's the promise of a very warm day here, and at least one person is in a very hot place as well. We're coming to tabletop. If you are seated, you can stay there, that's fine. You don't have to come to a tabletop. But if you are on a mat, check where you are. Knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. And to protect those wrists, giving a little bit of pressure into the fingertips and under the knuckle of the index finger and thumb so that all of the pressure doesn't land in the wrists and hurt the wrists. You can also use a folded blanket if that helps. Inhale forward slightly and then round down and back to child's pose. Again, inhale forward, round down and back to child's pose. And if you're in a chair, you can do the same kind of thing. Inhale forward, round and fold. Come back up. Still having that same movement in the spine. Inhale forward, round, down and back. And next time you're in child's pose, stay there. If you prefer to have a bolster to flop over here, then do that. And in your child's pose, you've got options. You can stay with the knees together or hip width, or you can take them wider and sink down to the mat and pause for a moment. Noticing where sensation is in your body and remembering that concept of compassion for yourself, deep compassion. And where is it that you feel that? Is it in the heart space, the hips? And take a reach. So I prefer to bring my knees a little bit narrower to reach and walking the hands over to one side. Perhaps even taking a hand on top of the furthest outstretched arm. Pause. And then walk the hands back through center over to the opposite side. Just noticing. And walk back to center. Coming back up to tabletop. And have a little bit of a wiggle here. A little bit of a wiggle of the hips. See if you can take some circles there. Or a figure of 8. You can even make that bigger, a little bit more intuitive. Shoulder, shoulder, hip, hip. You can do circles. Anything that feels good. And then come to stillness. We're going to come to standing. Unless you're staying in a chair. So to come to standing, you can either push yourself gently up, or you can come with me through a downward facing dog. So if you're coming through a downward dog, take the hands forward a little, tuck the toes, hover the knees, send the sit bones back and up. And if this is your first downward dog of the day, you might find that there's a lot of stiffness, and that is okay. The intention here is lengthen the spine and sending the sit bones high. Doesn't matter how bent your knees are. You can have a little bit of a pedal of the legs. See if that feels good. And then for a moment, find some stillness. And gently walk the toes to the hands or the hands to the toes, coming into a forward fold. You might want your hands on a block or even a table or a chair. Anything that feels good. Have a little swing side to side. And remember, in this pose, it's a good pose to visualize, to let go of anything that doesn't serve you or is bothering you. You can even visualize it leaving through your fingertips. Then generously bend the knees. Lengthen through the spine, coming into a flat kind of back. Rise all the way up into an extended mountain, reaching overhead. And let the arms go. Whew. Well, it's certainly warming up here. Have a little shimmy. Have a little shake. If you've never practiced with us before, we like a shimmy and we like a shake. Okay. Pause again. And notice how you feel. Tuning back into that sense of compassion, love, care. Okay, taking the feet out, turning the toes out a little bit, we're going to come into a star pose. So, reaching the arms out overhead, stretching out into your shining star. If you are long ways on the mat, you might want to turn to the side so you can take your legs a bit wider, but only as far as it's comfortable for you. Brilliant. And then a balance to our star. So we're going to push off from one leg onto the other. Doesn't matter if you're only there momentarily. Balance is good. If you're like me, there's always a shed roof to hang on to. Sensing into the balance of your star. And come back down. And over to the other side. Push off. Find the balance. Brilliant. Wherever it is. Beautiful. And back. Have a little wiggle of the arms. Have a little wiggle of the legs. And take them back out. We're going to find our warrior 2. So, I'll mirror again. Right toes pointing to the short edge of the mat. Left toes come in a little bit. Now the heel kicks out. But hips are forward, kind of in line with that long edge of the mat. Take a hug. Take a hug always before a warrior. To find our strength, tap in first to that. self-care, self-compassion, self-love. And you can do this exactly the same seated. And then on the inhale, sweeping out the arms, bending into that right leg, taking the arms out to shoulder height. Exactly the same. It doesn't matter where your legs are. You can have the same position to look at, but they can be however you need them to be. Brilliant. Arms out to shoulder height. Knee is over ankle. Gaze is through that middle finger of the right hand. Let go and come back to the hug. On the next inhale, sweep back out. Bending that knee, finding your warrior. Strong back leg. On the next exhale, come back to the hug. One more, we're going to stay this time. Sweeping the arms out, finding the strength of your warrior. And if your arms are aching, they do not have to stay up. They can go to your hips. They can be wherever you wish. Knowing that the strength of the warrior is with you all of the time. Okay, we're going to reverse our warrior. So shift a little bit to the right. Drop the left hand down to the side. Turn the right palm and sweep it up and over. Brilliant. Keeping that knee bent, coming back. Warrior two. Shift, drop, turn and sweep. You can take your gaze up if you wish. Come back. Warrior two. One more. Shift, drop, turn and sweep. You can also do this lying flat, should you choose. And breathe. Come back, warrior two. Then straighten that right leg. Oh, thank goodness, say some of you. And we're going to turn into a reverse triangle. So rotating the arms so that that back arm, that left arm, goes down in front of the leg and the right arm reaches up for a reverse triangle. Brilliant. Taking the gaze up to the fingertips, up to my shed roof. And breathe. Remembering that self-compassion for wherever you are in this pose. Visualizing is just as good. Come back to warrior two, bending the leg. Whew, maybe have a swing of the arms. Come back. We're going to do triangles, so straighten the leg and rotate the arms the other way. So this time, right arm in front of right leg, left arm up. Gaze up if you wish. Brilliant. And breathe. Strength in your warrior. In your triangles. All of these poses that come from warrior require an inner strength, not just physical. Generously bend that knee and come back. Warrior two. One more from here, if you're game, keeping the legs as they are. Rotate the body through 45 degrees. You can either take the hands to the hips or to prayer or behind. Lift through the chest and we're going to hinge at the hips and humble the warrior. So if it's best for you, you can just have a little bend. If your legs need to straighten, straighten them. If you want this version, take it. And breathe. Rise back up. Let it go. Have a shimmy. Have a shake. Brilliant. I even see shimmies and shaking on the mat lying down, which is perfect. But pause and notice here. Notice how it feels in your body and how one side of the body might feel different now to the left. Now, when I said you can leave at any time, this is the wrong moment. You need to do something with this. Well, you can leave, but your body's going to feel weird the rest of the day. So pause and notice with deep self-compassion. Let's take it to the other side. So, feet out first. Left toes pointing to the short edge. Right toes come in a bit. Take a hug. Sink into that hug. And if you need to stay in the hug, do so. Otherwise, sweep out the arms, bending that left knee, coming into finding your warrior two. Strong back leg. Let it go, come back to the hug. Always remember the self-compassion under the strength. Sweeping back out. Warrior two. Coming back to the hug. Brilliant. This time we're going to stay in our warrior. And if your speed is different, that's okay as well. Sweeping out, staying for a few breaths in your warrior two. Breathe. Noticing the strength here. We're going to reverse it, so shift a little. Drop the back arm. Turn the front palm and sweep it over. Lovely. Coming back. Warrior two. Shift, drop, turn, reverse. Coming back. Warrior two. One more. Shift, drop, turn, reverse. Feeling into that, spiraling that chest open, opening the heart. Coming back. Warrior two. Straighten that front leg with some relief. We're going to have reverse triangles, so rotate the arms so that the back leg has a conversation with the back arm. Front arm, the left arm goes up. Take the gaze up if you wish. And breathe. Coming back. Warrior two. Triangle, so straighten the leg again and rotate the other way. Left arm in front of left thigh, right arm up. Or on your waist if you prefer. And back to warrior two. Bend the knee, come back. Last one, this is the humble warrior. So turn the body through 45 degrees. Choose your position for your hands. Lift through the chest. Hinge at the hips. Humble your warrior. Only go as low as feels good. It might be a tiny humble. That is good. And let go. Rise back up to warrior two. Let it all go. Have a shimmy. Have a shake. Have a wiggle. Oh, and pause and notice. Helen, I thought you did gentle yoga. When I came today, I thought it was going to be gentle. It's okay sometimes to have it a little bit more. And it's okay to sit and do it. And it's okay to lie down and do it. And it's okay to visualize. Pause. And notice. Maybe bringing hands to heart. Coming back to that. Self-compassion. I am practicing as is right for me today. I am doing what is right for me today. Okay, we're going to have a tree. another balance. So you can do this lying down as well. You can do it flat and mirror exactly the same position. Or you can do it standing. You can lean against a wall. You can hold on to a piece of furniture. Shifting the weight into one foot. I've shifted into my right foot. Now watch here that you don't sink. See the sink? So we don't want to sink. Shifting the weight and keeping the hips lifted, and then finding some external rotation in the hip, in that other leg, in the left leg. Bringing the, you can't see, my heel to ankle. That may be the tree that is right for you. You might take your foot higher to the calf. Please do not rest it on the knee. That's not a good idea, but you might take it higher to the thigh. Hands at the position of your choice, heart center. Grow your branches or have them overhead. Find a drishti, somewhere to look, to focus. Pause. It's okay to wobble and let it go. Ooh, notice. Notice how that feels in your body. Notice one leg compared to the other. And swap sides. Shift the weight. Find that external rotation. Heel to ankle. Find the point that's right for you. Remember, no feet on knees. And you might change your mind partway through. Find your foot position, find your drishti, find your hand position. Maybe grow your branches or take them overhead. Pause. And let that go. Whew. Have a shimmy. Have a shake. Grab a drink if you wish. I'm going to grab a drink. Okay. So coming down to the mat, we're going to come to tabletop. You can do your dragon lying flat, should you choose. If you want a bolster or a cushion to rest on in your dragon, have one ready. It's always an option. So a dragon is a lunge. So you can also do a dragon from the chair, taking your legs into a lunge. Your front knee will be bent, your back leg will stretch out. But if you're coming to the mat, we start in tabletop. Wrists under shoulders, knees under, I was going to say knees under ankles, knees under hips. And take that right leg to up near the hands, on the outside of the hand. Okay, well done. Now that might be just the place for you. Or you might shimmy that left knee back a bit to increase the stretch. At this point, you may want a stack of cushions or bolsters under the hips, under the body, and that is okay. Otherwise, you can then turn, or as well as, you can turn that front foot out. So the toes point out to 45 degrees. And then that allows that front knee to drop open a little. Now, here is your dragon. Here is where you really might want your bolster. You might lower down onto it for a lazy, sleepy dragon. You can stay up on your hands and still be lazy, sleepy dragon with them on the mat. If you haven't got bolsters and cushions, you can come down to your forearms. You find the dragon that's right for you. Lazy and snoozy. I'll stay up here so I can see you. Brilliant. And see if you can find some softness. See if you can let go of a little bit of tension. But don't go for what it looks like. Don't go to the end range of movement. This should be gentle, and you've done lots of poses to prepare for it. If you want to add a twist, we call this nosy dragon. Bringing that, the left hand, it's my left hand, away from the other foot, into the centre a little bit more. And you can turn the body to face that front leg. Have a little look over your shoulder. Have a little nose about. Nosy dragons, have a look around. Brilliant. And then you can come back to your snoozy dragon. Sink down onto the bolster if you wish. If you have 3 bolsters, that's okay. And then push back up, bring that knee back in and turn the foot and straighten that front leg. So you get like a counter stretch. And release it through tabletop to child's pose with some relief. Sink onto the mat. Pause a moment. Notice the dragon effect in your hips. Brilliant. We'll do that on the other side. So come back up, tabletop, should you choose, or from the chair, or visualizing, or taking that reclined pigeon if you're lying down, so bringing the knee back into the chest. Okay, taking the left foot to up by the left hand. I'll turn around the other way so you can see better. Left foot up to the left hand, taking the right knee back a little, if that's comfortable. It just gives a bit of a stronger stretch in the hips, if that's what you want. Turning the left toes out about 45 degrees so it lets that knee drop open. And then staying here or sinking onto a cushion, a bolster, anything for your snoozy, sleepy dragon. If you are lying down, you can come back. Oh, look, I've even got a bolster under my head. You can come back to that reclined pigeon, encouraging the hip away. It's the same action, not quite the same in the other hip, but that doesn't matter. So sink into your lazy, snoozy dragon. And if you want to add the twist, shifting the weight a bit into the right hand and turning the body to face that front leg. Maybe taking the hand to the thigh, having a little look around for nosy dragon. And release it, come back round, gently bring the knee in, turn the foot, straighten that front leg for that little counter stretch. And then release it, coming back to child's pose. Whatever version of child's pose feels good right now. Sink, soften, breathe. And remember, visualization is good as well. You only ever need to take the version that's right for you. When you're ready, coming down to the mat, lying down, you'll be most pleased to know. If you want to lie on something, have it ready now. If you want a blanket, have it ready now. Coming back down to the mat, knees to your chest. I've just got sheepskin in my eyes. Dust from sheepskin in my eyes. Knees into your chest and rock side to side. Sinking and softening. Lovely. We'll take some cow face legs here. So take the left foot flat to the mat. And take the right leg over the left thigh, like you're crossing your legs. A classic leg cross. Brilliant. Squeezing the thighs together. Then the left foot that's on the mat, lift it up off the mat so both knees come towards your chest. Then send the feet out to the sides, the opposite sides from which they came. And if you can, take hold of each foot. So your right hand should be holding your left foot, your left hand should be holding your right foot. And notice if you can feel any sensation through the hips and which one may feel it more. You might have a little rock here, tiny gentle movements. And then gently let that go. Take the feet flat, have a little windshield wiper side to side. And we'll do that on the other side. So right foot flat to the mat, left leg crosses over like you're classically crossing your legs. Squeeze the thighs together. Lift the right foot off the mat, send the feet pointing to the opposite sides and take hold of the feet. They're moving towards your chest, but you're sort of keeping the feet quite high. And notice the sensations, probably stronger at this point through the left hip. So actually, this can be very good for people who have a sciatic nerve that's pinched by a piriformis muscle. Let that go. Drop the feet flat. Windshield wiper side to side. Or take a twist. So a nice gentle one with your windshield wiper. And you can do this just in the same way, seated, letting your feet be flat on the ground and your knees rock side to side, and then just let them drop to one side. So they go side, 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 drop, knees drop over. You can stretch out your arms and take your gaze the opposite way. Pause. Then windshield wiper again. Side to side, and then drop the opposite way. Lovely. Windshield wiper again, and then bring the knees into the chest once more. We're going to come to a reclined butterfly. So the choice is yours. If you have a bolster, you might want it under the knees, but you don't need one. Take the soles of the feet together on the mat and let the knees drop out to the side. You can use a bolster under the knees to support both, or you can use blankets under each knee, or you can have no support. So feet on the mat, soles of the feet together, knees drop out. Your arms, your hands might rest on the belly. Your hands might rest down by the side, or you can even cactus the arms, or they might come back to your heart. We'll just have a couple of minutes here, and then either stay like this or move to Shavasana with the legs stretched out. Again, you can use a cushion under the knees for that. But first, allow yourself a couple of minutes here. Coming back to that idea of self-care, self-compassion. You can do this whatever position you're in a chair as well, letting your legs extend out, soles of the feet together, and letting your knees just drop. And on the exhale, perhaps you can soften a little more. You have one more minute here. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Perhaps you can bring it back to the breath. And then for the final pose, either stay exactly as you are or stretching out the legs with or without a cushion. Coming into Shavasana. I'm going to sit up, but I'd like you to rest there. And we'll have a couple of minutes before moving on to a guided meditation. Taking the time for your nervous system to integrate all that you've done, all that you've visualized, the strength of the warrior, deep love, self-care, deep compassion. We're going to move to a guided meditation practice. So you have a choice. You can either stay exactly where you are. Traditionally we sit tall in meditation, but I encourage you to take the position that's right for you. So either move, shift, change, or settle down and be comfortable. I'm coming over there. Extra blankets if you wish. Or just moving to a position that's better for you. And settling down and tuning back in and noticing how you feel. How am I in this moment? How am I as a body? And taking awareness to the space above the top of the head. Sensing, imagining that space filled with warmth from the head. Noticing the hairs on the top of the head, the skin. Breathing in with love, breathing out with compassion, self-compassion, deep compassion for you. allowing your awareness to move to the face, the eyes, the muscles around the eyes, the cheeks, the nose, the jaw, sensing, imagining the space inside of the head. Space inside of the head filled with self-care. Breathing in with love. Breathing out with self-compassion, deep compassion. Moving your awareness from the head through the neck and the shoulders and into each arm, through the upper arms, the elbows, the lower arms, the wrists and the hands, sensing, imagining the arms and the space within the arms. Perhaps the arms are filled with the breath, filling with self-care. Sensing, imagining the space in the hands and each finger and each thumb. The space within the hands filling with the breath, filling with self-care. Breathing in with love. Breathing out with compassion, self-compassion, deep compassion. Moving awareness from the arms, through the shoulders, into the chest. Sensing, imagining the space within the chest, within the heart, the lungs, the rib cage. Each breath filling the space within the chest, the space within the rib cage, the lungs, the heart, filling with self-care. Breathing in with love. Breathing out with compassion, deep compassion. Moving awareness from the chest into the belly and the pelvis. Sensing, imagining the space within the belly, the space within the pelvis, the lower spine, the bones of the pelvis, the muscles, the skin, the organs, filling with the breath, filling with self-care. Breathing in with love. Breathing out with compassion. Deep compassion, self-compassion. Sensing, imagining the legs, the space within the upper legs, the knees, the lower legs, the ankles, each foot and each of the toes. Imagining the space within each leg, from the hips to the toes, the bones, the muscles, the skin. Filling with the breath, filling with self-care. Breathing in with love. Breathing out with compassion, deep compassion, self-compassion. Having awareness of the whole body here, the whole body, the space within the whole body filling with the breath, the whole body radiating self-care. And letting awareness settle in the body for the next couple of minutes. Breathing in with love. Breathing out with compassion. Deep compassion, self-compassion. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Bring it back gently, kindly to the breath. Breathing in with love. Breathing out with compassion. Spreading compassion. Bringing it back to the body, bringing it back to self. As we reach the end of this practice, take any movements you need, perhaps a stretch, perhaps a hug, perhaps hand to heart, and an invitation to carry some extra self-compassion into your day. For those in the Zoom room, we're going to stop the recording for everybody. And those in the Zoom room are welcome to stay for the creativity practice, or stay where you are if you need. Creativity, do exactly as you wish. And take an extra hug today. I'm going to stop the recording now. Check in with the Zoom room. See you soon.